I wake up and check my phone for my email. Updated just now. It can't be. There must be something wrong with my email. Perhaps the internet connection is bad. Give it until lunch break. Something will hopefully turn up then. Checking for mail. Come on, come on. One unread message. Fragrance.net? I gotta figure out how to get rid of these spam emails. It's been 3 months since I had auditioned. How can they still be deciding? This is pure torture. The not knowing, it's worse than the rejection. If I don't get into this program, then I'll have another summer at home, not making any progress. It's just endless practicing with nowhere to perform, no goal, or no reason. Well, if I haven't seen anything past 5 p.m., then I'll probably have to wait again until tomorrow. Checking for mail. Here it is. We are sorry to have you wait this long, only to have to tell you that we cannot offer you a spot this year. This cannot be the message I waited 3 months to hear. How do I even move forward? How does one continue to sing when they actually aren't performing? I know my voice is making progress, but there's no way to actually prove it or feel that I'm moving forward. So this was back in 2017 when I was first beginning my journey of self-reflection. You know those feelings of frustration and angst that you get when things aren't going how you want? Well, I've learned for myself that it's a sign that something is not right and that there's a lesson to be learned from it. If I do not learn the lesson, then it's just going to keep happening over and over and over again until I learn it. So after some melodramatic searches in Google of how to not be sad and how to get over disappointment, I found a blog. Now, I actually don't remember who wrote it or how I found it because this was a couple years ago. But I found a blog about a lady who kept a voice journal that she used for summarizing their lessons, things learned, aha moments, as well as anything voice related. So fast forward to now, where I finished the last page of my first voice journal. Right here, you could see I finished it up, and I've already started my second one. But I wanted to take a moment to reflect on this first voice journal because I am absolutely amazed at how much I have changed and transformed as a person through self-reflection. So at the beginning of this journal, a lot of this is basically voice lessons, soppy accounts sometimes of my feelings, paying attention to all those minute little details from the lessons or from when I would practice, how things would physically feel. I would also record myself with voice memos, and then I would listen and write down in my journal how the sound changed, and then I'd try to make changes accordingly. And I would be writing about how I wanted to get into a summer program and my desire for being able to have a chance to perform and to learn how to do it and to see if I can do it. So looking even further in here, I am again just amazed at how it went from all these details and this desire and the feelings of rejection that I had, because I was rejected not once but several times at the beginning. And now I could see here, you could see I'm writing in my journal the schedule that I have for my first summer program. And so it goes from, you know, all these little accounts to here I'm, you know, writing, I have to attend Italian lessons from 9:15 to 1. and then I have a run through of something, and then I have a rehearsal. So I even have one here that's talking about the first performance that we had in Italy, which was in Chore, Italy. It was in Puccini's family home. That was our first performance, and it was absolutely beautiful and serene to be able to be there for our first performance, and it's just super historical and just truly an amazing experience. You can also see towards the very end of it how I am also doing my second summer program, which is in New York City. And I'm writing my schedules and things I need to do. I'm also writing a lot of affirmations too, because it's a way that I deal with nervousness, is to write down in present tense what I want to be, to get my mind out of that negative thinking. So what I took from reading all of these is just valuable lessons that I've learned that have taken me way farther than I thought it would have taken me in just a couple of years. So here are some things that I found after going through it that I was writing about that you can also use for your own voice journal, for your just own self-reflection journal, just for yourself, or anything you want to do. If you are a writer, you could do this. If you are anything that you want to do, you can keep a journal. And there's different types of journals as well. You can also do a gratitude journal. I have one of those where I write down things that I'm grateful for. Some people do a joy journal, things that bring them joy, so that when they go back to read it, they literally feel joyful and happy every time they look at it. So for me, I use this for my own growth. It's a way for me to measure my own self-making progress. So here is what I found to be useful things to write about for specifically a voice journal. Number one are important points and things to fix from voice lessons. Feelings and experiences I was feeling in practice. Physically, and if you listen to it, how it sounds, and then writing down what the differences were and what you had to do to achieve the sounds that you liked. The third thing is to plan for how I would like to practice. I did this a lot in here, so I would write down, I am a music teacher as well, and so I'm used to writing lesson plans a lot. I would almost write a lesson plan for myself, where I would write down, okay, I need to warm up, I need to work on this song, I need to work on this specific part on this other song, and don't finish until I actually fixed it. And then the next day I got to review that thing that I fixed to make sure that I did it correctly. The next thing was notes on master classes, studio classes, and coachings. So I would always make sure to take notes. If I didn't have time to do it right there, I would record it with a voice memo and listen to it again, and I'd take notes on the things that were meaningful to me. Next thing were travel experiences, and that's another thing. Even if you're not a voice person, you could do, I actually do have a travel journal. That's a lot of fun to look back at, because there's so many things that you encounter through travel that you forget about, and when you look back at it, you're like, oh yeah. Like the other day I looked in my travel journal and I completely forgot. I had traveled to Ghana with my husband, and we were in the car, and I looked over in the car and there was a monkey sitting on top of it was in a truck. Like, I don't know if it was in the truck or if it was like on the thing in between the front of the truck and the trailer part, but there was a monkey sitting there. I was just staring at it, and I completely forgot that had happened. So writing about travel experiences are really fun. And it also helps you to remember graces or etiquette that you learned in travel. If it's a country that isn't your own language, there's some things that I've learned as well. Like I would write down, okay, it's really important to know, please, thank you, how to pay the bill, things like that, that I notice for my own self that's useful to learn. The next thing is audition observations. So right after an audition, I would take this, and I actually did see this, and I would write down what I did well, what I want to fix, and then I'd forget about it. Because if you keep going over and over in your head about auditions, then it can destroy you. Next thing is positive affirmations, and I talked about this a little bit before. I would write things in present tense, even if that's not necessarily what I was feeling, like I am confident, I am talented, I am performing at my best. Whatever I felt I needed at that moment was what I was writing down. I would also write things that I need to improve, which is kind of goes along with the things before, but maybe it's just like a random thought, like, oh, I really need to work on my eyes, how they always move around, which I'm probably doing in this video right now. My eyes just go everywhere. So, or I need to work on my posture, how I'm standing, things like that. The next thing is notes for how I want to portray a piece. So I found this to really help. So when I decide how I'm gonna portray a song or how I'm gonna act it out, if I find something that like I'm practicing in the mirror that I really like, I will actually write it down in my journal, what I did. So for example, first phrase, I put my hand on my heart or something. I don't do this all the time, but if I'm having trouble remembering what exactly I did, or I really want something to stick, writing down helps it to stay glued to my mind. I also write down questions that I have for future lessons. Sometimes I'll get something and I'll go to a lesson and then I completely forget to ask that question, and you know, that's a great time to ask someone who's experienced and already knows what they're doing. So my next thing is observations on my video and audio recordings. So I talked about how if I really want to change something with how I sound, I actually have to record it and then write down what the difference was and how I actually made that difference. Because when you're trying to sing on your own, what you hear is different than what's actually being perceived by the audience. And so it's a little bit easier to record yourself and then write down what you actually heard as far as a difference. Also, I do this with my videos. So the same thing with how I'm portraying and acting. I will do like little draft videos, I guess, of how I want to portray a song. And sometimes I don't even have to sing it. I could just mime it and then, you know, go through what I want. And then when I watch it, I'm making sure that what I was trying to portray or the message I was trying to get across is actually working. Like, did that actually translate how I wanted it to come across? And I'll take notes real quick, like, oh, don't move your fingers like that. Don't twitch your legs. Or, oh, that was good, how you looked up at that moment. Things like that has really helped me to transform the singing and the acting. Next thing is creative ideas. Just creative ideas that help me with singing and performing. And then last thing is just random thoughts and realizations. You know, sometimes you just get those random things that come in your head. I know for me, I usually get it while I'm in the shower for whatever reason. And then I come here and then I write it down so I don't forget it. So even if writing is something that you do not enjoy, that you consider to be a chore, I still challenge you to try to keep a journal. So if you are an aspiring classical singer like I am, I think this is a great thing to do for self-improvement for yourself, for your acting, for your singing. It's truly helped me so much, and I've already started another one because I think it helps in my continuous growth. Even if you're not a classical singer, let's say you want to be a nurse one day, then take a journal and reflect on what you observe in your studies or in your practice. Or if you just want to keep a gratitude journal or a joy journal, do that. And let's say try it for 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week for a month, and see if you notice a difference. Has your attitude changed? Have you changed at all? Have you gotten a new perception of something? I guarantee that you won't regret it. So in closing, I have a quote by Marcus Tulius Cicero, and here's the quote. "It is not by muscle, speed, or physical dexterity that great things are achieved, but by reflection, force of character, and judgment." Bye.